Hi, class. I wanted to talk to you about this paper that you guys are writing, or will be writing. And it's the first paper for the class. It's called a reader response paper, and that's exactly what it is. The directions for the paper are on Blackboard under this week's assignments, but I wanted to go over them with you and to also remind you that if you have any questions, you should definitely send me an email so I can help you out. So as I say on there, I'm taking the directions from the book, and specifically pages 15, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, and 48. The important page, 15, is the one that explains to you how you should go about responding to a text when you're reading it, and that those notes that you're taking about your responses, your initial feelings about the story, your initial observations about the story, that's really what the paper is about. If you take careful enough notes, the paper actually comes directly from them. So this is not an analysis paper or a formal essay. This is how you are interpreting and encountering the text for the first time. You may use the first person, but please don't use the second person, which is you. Try to restructure those sentences or use the word one. Sometimes you can also use the first person plural, we. So instead of saying, in the story you notice that the narrator has no name, you could say the reader notices, one notices, or just say the narrator has no name. So the other part of the paper is similar to the discussion board this week, where I asked you to respond to the story Cathedral's theme about ignorance and prejudice and to support your responses with quotes from the text. Same thing here. Everything that you're saying about the story you should back up with a quote from the text. It's a dialogue with the work. It's not a book review. It's not a plot summary or synopsis. And you don't have to explain everything that happens in the story. You can assume that your reader understands and has read the story. So you are telling your story about the work. Write down your responses, feelings, thoughts, reactions, and questions as you read the short story. And provide connections to the text by explaining similarities and differences between the story, yourself, other texts, and the world. So the questions on page 15 in your book are asking about the specific elements of fiction: characters, plot, setting, point of view. And so you use what you said about answering these questions to connect further to the text, and this is what you want to include in your response. What aspect of the story seems to draw you in the most? Point of view, plot, character, setting, whatever you have the strongest reaction to, that will be your focus. Keep the paper organized by the events in the story so that you're starting at the beginning and going through and then into the end of the story. That makes it much easier to follow. In the first paragraph, make sure you include the first and last name of the author spelled correctly, and include the title of the story in quotation marks. Support your statements with quotations and details. Use details from the story and the character's thoughts to support your responses and feelings regarding the story. This does not have to be a formal thesis-driven essay with an introduction and a conclusion. You just need to use proper MLA formatting and quote and summarize from the story in order to make your observations. And again, I'm just reading the directions to you. So you have a few choices for the stories that you can use for this paper. The Shabbat, which is the graphic excerpt in the very beginning of the book. Cathedral. The Jewelry. The Cask of Amontillado. The Yellow Wallpaper. Or Hills Like White Elephants. Your paper should be written and formatted with MLA style. It should be about 2 pages long, typed, double-spaced, 12-point font, and you should include a works cited page. It's due September 13th by 11:59 p.m. and will only be accepted if you upload it to the Turnitin link, which is on Blackboard. What else I want to say about it is there shouldn't be any outside research done for this paper. The whole point is that it's your responses. If you don't understand something, not because you haven't read it well enough, but because you just are puzzled by something that happens or a motivation of a character, that's totally legitimate. There is one model of this kind of paper in your book, and it's actually using the story Cathedral. So go ahead and take a look at that and see how that writer simply walks through the story noticing things. That's all you need to do for this paper. So again, please don't hesitate to email me if you have any questions. Okay.